Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here with Jason Blaha Strength and Fitness, and once again it is time for a general physical preparedness workout. But a quick reminder, if you guys will please click like and drop me a comment down below, I'd appreciate it so much. So increase the weight on the loaded carries. Now I put some of those old foam pads I used to use for box squatting. I put a couple of those down, and here's the reason why. My handles do get a little beat up on the concrete. I now have to, because I'm using that next set of weight up, I've got some of my really expensive steel calibrated plates on there. I am not dropping them on the concrete if I can avoid it, right? So, it might happen if my grip slips further down, but, those things happen. In the meantime, there's no point in banging them down every single rep on that, so I drop those down so we can increase the weight. So now we're bumping the weight up on the weighted carries, as I said I would do. Said I was going to do that moving forward, and I'm a man of my word, so that's what I'm doing. I'm taking that weight up a little bit. Now, I used to do these fairly heavy, and I used to do them inside the old condo in the hallway. People would laugh like, oh, this dude's doing weighted carries down this hallway. They thought it was so funny. But I'm like, doing pretty heavy weighted carries in my house. What's the problem, guys? Better than up and down outside. I wasn't trying to do it inside the yard of the condo. But, out here, man, there's a sidewalk. It's public property and everything, my neighborhood. You just do the stuff down the street. But yeah, so it didn't go quite as far because, again, I take fairly short breaks on these, and this is a heavier weight. I've got to hold on to that grip. And I think people need to remember these handles are smoother. I might eventually go over to dumbbells for this if I want to go heavier, because I have those really long handle dumbbells, remember? I do have those. Way better grip. So it's something to think about. I don't have any knurl on there. That is smooth on those particular little mini handles, right? They're smooth. So the grip can be a little bit harder. Also, I did my med ball tosses. I really like these. I feel like because I'm throwing stuff up over my head, I feel like it feels really good in my shoulder joints. I feel like this will continue to help improve the mobility, along with doing some kettlebell overhead work, which I did today, which I did for a little more volume today. So I ended up doing 3 sets of those, but let's talk about the med ball throws. He's felt good. Of course, I think the first one I put up that came up in the stream might have, because I have the audio free, they're just out there while I'm doing them for reels and shorts. I think we might have heard one of the neighbors firing up. A whole lot of cam, that's all good. For anyone who's curious what sound might have been, if that one's the one, I think that's one of them I put up. I don't listen to it, I just throw it up there. But, you guys might have heard that big cam hitting. Beautiful sound. So, yeah, and I think on these, again, what I pointed out here in the sunlight, we can see under the bit of fluff still there, that muscle density that I have from all the years of heavy power training, right? You can see underneath there that grainy look just underneath that layer of fat. So again, as I pointed out, every time you see a power lifter or strength athlete, like a serious one, diet down, there's a totally different look. Same look Dorian had, actually. Just making that note. All right, there's that density. We saw it with Mark Bell. We saw it with all these other guys. All right, there's that certain look that's under there. And it's something we try to point out the years of heavy training. Martin Berkham kind of had it. All right. And this is because of real dense, hard myofibular growth. So it's just, I can see that it's already there. So I think eventually, as I continue I will get leaner over time. Gives us a real good idea. My calves and forearms, you already see it. But gives us a good idea what's under that fluff. But yeah, I feel like with what I'm doing with all this fasted training and messing with my diet, I dropped the dietary fat real low. My only real fat at the moment are my 2 omega-3 eggs. Everything else is pretty much fat-free. Unless we count chicken breast and brown rice as sources of fat, be pretty low. So I'm just running a lot of carbs now. Because I think with all this fasting, I really do think that's going to be the way to go. I've adapted to doing all this. My body's used to it. Just carb up. Very similar idea to what the sugar diet guys do. But doing it all fasted makes a difference. All this training is done that way. So we're, again, digging into those reserves a little. So yeah, but I feel like the diet's really good there. I feel like the diet is really fueling my performance, right? My workouts are getting really, really good while doing it. Now that I've scaled running back, I chose not to run. I'm just going to run a couple days a week just to keep my fitness up, right? We need to run enough to keep my feet and ankles tough. to the barefoot part, and we need to run enough to keep my cardio up. But the GPP that I'm doing here, all this GPP, has a hypertrophic effect. So there's going to be muscle growth. This gives recomposition. I always tell guys that, like, do GPP, right? Do your heavy lifting, but then if you need to pursue other activity, stuff like general physical preparedness will get you fit, right? Right? And it'll improve body composition. I tell a lot of guys I could almost just have you squat, bench, deadlift, and chin up, and just do lots of GPP. And most dudes would get everything they want to get, right? They get the physique they want over time with a good diet. 2 rounds of sled sprints here, right? 2 rounds of sled sprints. I decided to adjust the camera right there since I'm doing them pretty short. So the first ones are not a sprint. I go a lot faster on the way back. So for those curious, that's just a nice steady push. It's a little jog. When I turn them around and go, I actually run. So I try to run hard. So these are sprints at this point, right? We're trying to sprint with it. So again, get as fast as I possibly can, get some good conditioning out of it. But I did 2 rounds. I mean, Saturday we might do 3. But I just did 2 rounds of it here. Just nice, good sprints. I feel like it's carrying over to my squatting. I feel like I know it builds my quads and calves and everything, right? I know it builds all of them. But those squat reps are going up, and I feel like I'm almost stuck. I got 7 twice with that 405, but I'm going to get it to 10. The same thing with that deadlift. I'm going to push those top sets up to 10 reps. Now, if I ever get the bench to 315 for 10, then we'll be smoking, right? That would be just amazing for me. Like, yeah, that would be like, feel like an impossible dream, but I'm going to work on it. All right, I grabbed the 25-pound kettlebell again for these, and I did 3 sets of 15 per arm. And I'm fully aware that, that's not locked. That is my lockout. That's why I'm doing this, because I need to work it. Even if I can't lock it all the way out, I need to work it. And the funny thing, it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies, especially the right one. When I'm doing these, man, all I hear, because I don't have my music in, my headphones aren't in, it sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. All the way up. But that's okay. That means, what does that tell us? Because I don't hurt. And that's what people need to remember, that when we talk about the range above the shoulders, they're like, well, if it hurt, like, no, it doesn't hurt. That's the thing. There's 0 pain. I just simply can't go through the ranges of motion, which we've kind of observed. And the dead hangs, I can do dead hangs further into them than I can press. So some of it's telling us, there's definitely some scar tissue or adhesions or whatever in there. And maybe just the movements will help break up. That's one reason I notice the hangs don't do anything, but maybe the overhead does. There's a lot more sounds. And people can make of that what they will when I'm actually pressing stuff or lifting the arms. I know that when I mess with really light loo raises. So again, I'm maybe hoping if we just work through the ranges of motion, we'll just continue to improve it and get stronger in them. Yep, and then I ended up doing 3 sets of reverse hypers. I'm not going to talk through all the hypers. But I think over time, too, once as my body gets used to the more carbs and salts and stuff, again, I feel like that waist around that love handle will tighten. It's tighter on some days than others, I've noticed. Of course, if I just went low carb, it would all drop off, but I don't want to do that. It would impede my performance and not necessarily be optimal for health. But eventually, I feel it will get tighter. But I'm doing so much brown rice right now. It'll make me hold a hair of extra water in the gut, but that's okay, because as long as I'm recompositioning, I don't care, because eventually that does get tighter. But the reverse hypers, I did more than 25 on the 3rd set. I've added that extra weight, and I just did 3 sets of them, and I took it more reps on the final one. I didn't really count past there. I know that I got more than 25. So I did 3 sets of these with this newer weight. Make sure we get that lower back work. That lower back was a little crampy yesterday after squatting and deadlifting, especially the squatting. So again, I want to make sure I'm working that area. But I'm really happy with this workout, so I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.